Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I am Dr. Kelly Tanner. I have the pleasure of having one of my besties on today, Tina, also known as Teacher Tina. You guys know Tina, I'm sure, from social media. You all have been with her at her local anesthesia classes, have been following her for years. Tina, I know that I have been because I'm a fangirl. And, I have Tina on today. We talk just about every month, and we are part of a small mentoring group between a few of us, and we've always been able to bounce ideas off of each other. And Tina, you have come just so far in everything that you're doing. And I wanted Tina to come on today to talk about her mindset, her journey, what she's up to now, to give some words of advice. So everybody, Teacher Tina.
Oh, Kelly, thank you so much. Wow. Talk about building up someone. If you ever need a hype girl, get Kelly on your team, Dr. K. I lovingly call you Dr. K. So get her. Yeah, I'll have you be my hype girl any day.
Hey, always your hype girl.
Yeah. Thanks for inviting me to be here, Kelly. I really, it's an honor to get to share some time with you.
Yes. Thank you. Likewise. So Tina, we have created these kind of like golden eggs over the years, and we get together, like I mentioned. I bet it used to be monthly, but now it's been with you traveling and all that, and all of our different travel schedules. It's been a little bit longer than that, but I remember when you were just starting out. I mean, you still had a following and you were still doing all the good things and reaching out to people. Can you talk us through what had to happen for you to go from where you were, let's just say even 3 years ago, to where you are now? Like, what had to change in your mind? What had to happen with your daily habits? And then we'll go into where you are now.
Right. So it is a big, huge journey. And to be honest, there's times where I'm like, does anybody really pay attention? Who Teacher Tina RDH really, who I am or anything like that. But, I would say really it was kind of 2020, 2021 when I really started just sharing information out on social media to share. I'm an educator. I've always been an educator. It's part of my soul. It's just woven into me. And I was like, look, there's this cool platform on Instagram, and I think I can just share nuggets of information with people, and maybe they'll like it, maybe they won't. And I just stuck to that. I said, this is what I enjoy doing. And I love local anesthesia. I love a lot of different things about hygiene, but I love local anesthesia. And I had talked with so many people that they were had so many questions about it. I was like, I'm just going to start putting stuff out. And I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to do it. Right. I'll just be messy and just put something out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I started doing that. And slowly but surely, I went from just having maybe 10, 20 people. And then all of a sudden it was 300. And I remember when I had 500 followers, I was like, oh my gosh, I have 500 followers. It was just so exciting. And the more I just put out there and just showed up and was consistent, just slowly but surely things just started falling into place. And it's kind of one of that field of dreams. If you build it, they will come kind of a things where I was like, I'll just put it out there, and people just started finding me. I didn't do a lot to push out. I just showed up and just started sharing.
So when you showed up and you said, I just showed up, there's to so many people, it can be like, okay, I just showed up. But there are so many things that go on here and here that you get in your head about it. So tell us if you don't mind sharing, what you had to overcome to show up. Because for some people, it's a list this long. For some people, it's this long. What did you have to overcome? And then what did you learn about yourself as a part of showing up?
So I had to overcome the fact that I was working it into my life. So I may not always look beautiful and pretty on camera. My hair and makeup may not always be done. So to overcome like the vanity of it, of like, oh, somebody's gonna be like, seriously, she wore that, or she didn't even do her hair today, or what's going on? Just all of that, because we are visual people, and it's really easy. It's really, really easy to nitpick somebody and find
Mhm.
something to
That's
nitpick.
a
So
good one.
I really had to overcome the self-doubts of my own appearance and vanity aspects. And I will say, I still struggle. I still struggle with that. There are times where I'm like, this is me. And I just have to, just have to accept it. I had to overcome and still work on a lot on believing my knowledge, trusting that I've done the work. I've done the research. I teach it to dental hygiene students. I teach it to clinicians in a more intimate, private setting, that what I'm putting out there is worthy, and that I do know what I'm talking about. And I get that, and that's still, I'm like, okay, I'll go back through and I'll reread research, going, am I thinking correctly? Am I thinking correctly? And still just going through those steps.
Do you think that part of that, though, too, is that what you teach and what I teach and what the next person teaches, it's so much a part of who we are and so ingrained and natural to who we are? Do you think it becomes so ingrained that, and not to say it becomes oversimplified to us, but when we don't realize how much we know and are
Yeah.
sharing, that just is natural. So I think when that comes, when it is such a natural gift and you know it so well like you do, then it's like, wait, is that enough? Because I think that we say, okay, it may not be enough, I need to know more, but really you are enough already by what you know, and there's such a high value of that.
Yeah, there really is. And I don't think we ever stop second guessing ourselves and going like, I already said this. Nobody wants to hear it. Who wants to hear this stuff? Because I just talked about that 2 months ago. But going through those steps, and it's just so ingrained, and you feel like you're talking about it over and over and over again. In reality, maybe to the followers and the listeners, you're not.
Right. And people need to hear it several times as
People
well.
need to hear it several times. Yeah.
So, all right. So it's the vanity, it's questioning whether what you're providing is of value. And how are you? I mean, I know that you stay up on all the things, right? You're always digging into stuff, making sure you're on top of things. And I remember too when you said, I want to do this full time. You
Yeah.
remember that? How big of
Oh
a leap
yeah.
that was for you and how scary that was. So, talk us through how you worked through that in your head to just take that jump.
Well, there's a lot of financial insecurities that have to come through that, because one of the things I had to realize was that in order to move forward with Teacher Tina in a more time consuming aspect, is that I had to let go of something, and to let go of something where I was like, okay, this is guaranteed income. This is guaranteed.
Mhm.
I know that if I show up and I'm doing patient care every single day, that I will have a paycheck, right?
Mhm.
But in order to move forward and pour into the content that I put out, like there's only so much time in a day, and I had to allow that and say it's okay for me to step away from other activities, other projects. And there were times where it would take me 6 months to go through that whole decision process and go, okay, I'm going to do it. No, I can't. No, yes. Oh, no, I can't. And um, it took doing that a couple of times with different things, whether it was with patient care or working as a professional educator for a different company, going in and helping offices learn about their products. I had to release that once at a time. Sorry, all the travel, my brain is a little fried right now, but I had to release it. And it took releasing one thing and seeing that experience and seeing how I was able to fulfill some of my dreams and my goals with Teacher Tina to allow me to then take bigger steps and bigger steps and bigger steps, and to trust that when I release something, it makes room for the Teacher Tina process to grow and develop. And looking back through the entire aspects of going from being a full-time educator and being a full-time clinician to saying, okay, I'm going to be a part-time educator to hygiene students, and really focus on having Teacher Tina be a full-time aspect of my life. That took like about 3 years to make that a reality. And it was scary. Very, very, very scary. Yeah.
What would you have done anything differently going back? Like if you could have cut out all those little times to say, oh, I've got that. Oh, I've got that. Could you have compressed that time, do you feel like?
Possibly, but here's the thing. Growth is hard. Growth is scary. And I don't think I would have learned what I needed to learn if I hadn't gone through those challenges and maybe even had those moments of second guessing myself, because, the very first time I was like, okay, I need to give up this one aspect of an income. I had to go through and do the struggles and do the pros and the cons and the second guessing to know that when I made that decision, it really was the right decision. And it made the next time a little bit easier. And then the next time a little bit easier.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I don't think it was painful, but I wouldn't change it, because I don't think I would have learned what I needed to learn from it. I think I would have just been on the hamster wheel doing more instead of on a path walking forward. You know what I mean?
Did you learn to trust yourself?
Yes, I did. And I still, I mean, and I think that's an ever-going journey, but I did start to go, okay, that my gut was right on that, and to lean into that a little bit more. And when I was like, I have a feeling like, oh, I think that going live every Tuesday, like that was a big thing. Like, I think if I go live every Tuesday and just share 15 minutes of information on Instagram and Facebook, that's going to be a really big thing. And I've been doing that for 4 years, every Tuesday.
That's so wild. You're reliable. It builds that trust with other people and you and what you do.
Right. But in order to do that, I had to set parameters. I'm like, okay, I cannot work past this time, or I have to make sure I schedule this into the day so that way I can show up and provide this, 15 minutes of me basically just free talking about anesthesia or other clinical things. So, but I don't think I would have, I wouldn't have been able to do that if I hadn't had some of the other aspects now, which at the time felt like huge boulders to have to crawl over. And retrospective now, I'm like, oh, that was a little pebble that I was so worried about.
Yeah, it's always looking back. So what I find so many times with myself and then other people who I coach is that you look back and you keep proving to yourself that you're making the right decisions, and you build that muscle. And like you said, it becomes easier. It becomes easier. It's through that action of taking that step forward. It becomes easier. But then also I think what becomes easier is that that trust that you have in yourself to say, you know what, Tina, the last time I took this step, I did it, or I learned from it, and to be able to trust that about yourself, that historically speaking, every risk that Tina has taken, or the majority of them, have worked out well for her, right? For yourself. And so we forget to use that data, though, because we go into the fear where it threatens our safety. and
Yes.
can't pay my bills and insecurities, and it starts to feed that. But I feel like if we think about all the things that we've proven to ourselves time and time again, then that helps to reinforce the mindset of I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go for it.
Right. And there is a lot to knowing your own personal history. And I will say that one of the things that's helped me is journaling, like going through the process and journaling. What was I thinking during that time frame? What were my fears? And and I have a business coach, and she calls fear the security guard, saying, "Oh, you don't want to come out here. It's scary." And just stay back in your cave, and it's okay. You don't need to go out there. And when taking those moments and saying, "Okay, security guard, I see you." But I think there's a little something extra down that path that I can tap into, and you stretch your boundaries. And uh, writing it all down just helps process that
Yeah.
and allows me to be able to say, okay, I see what the danger is, but in reality, is that really going to happen? And if it does happen, say I am going live and somebody says, "Oh my gosh, Tina, I can't believe how much gray hair. How much weight have you gained?" Because I've gained some weight. So how much weight have you gained? That I was like, okay, what is the worst that's going to happen out of that? That's just put out there. Can I live? Can I survive if somebody says, "Wow, you've got more gray hair and your face is rounder"? Yes, I can. But it's hard. It's a hard reality.
Yeah. And there is the reality of when you are more present, when you have more of a social media presence, people can judge you. And like you
Yeah.
said, with the vanity aspect, you got to be okay with it. It's like I find that a lot of times if people are judging me, it's not about me at all.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
it's about sometimes their own insecurities that they're projecting. So that's a whole other topic. But
A whole
thank
other
you for
topic. Yeah.
yeah, thank you for sharing all that. Where I know that you are kicking butt now. So you've come so far. I remember when you were getting our opinion on your logo.
Yes. And I
Oh,
did that. I put that out again on social media. I was like,
I
okay, guys, which
know.
ones do you like? Yeah.
I know. I remember that. And so it just really fast forward to today. You're everywhere. I know that you're doing a lot of work in Georgia and then also in your own state of Oregon. So
Hmm.
and then social media, you're the go-to person for local anesthesia and for guiding the hands literally of so many people as the trusted educator for that. What has that been like for you? Does it seem real?
Um, it has been a roller coaster. I will say that. It has been a huge roller coaster. Like when you get on a roller coaster and it's like starts going and you can see the uphill climb and you're like, "Oh boy, wow, it's going to be really high."
Yeah.
And then it starts going and there's that rush and the wind is in your face and the adrenaline is pumping. And I will say that that's what it feels like right now, is that I'm just on this fast ride and trying to enjoy every aspect of it and breathe and scream through the scary parts of it. But yeah, it has been very, very, very fulfilling. I have to say that, especially with getting to come to the state of Georgia, where I do anesthesia certification for hygienists in the state. And actually that's where I'm at right now in the hotel, getting ready to do a certification course workshop this tomorrow and the next day. But to be able to work with these hygienists who have wanted to learn this skill set and finally now get to have it, to be able to share that and help build them up, help them know that come Monday morning when they're with their patient and they can effectively anesthetize their patient, there's a blessing to that. There's a lot of, I am very honored that I get to be the person
Mm.
to help them make their patient life better. That what I can bring to the table for them will create a professional at life for them that opens up so many more revenue avenues for them, that they can be empowered to do so much more. And it's really kind of interesting to think that just that one little thing can open so many doors for many other hygienists. And it really is a blessing and an honor that I could get emotional about it right now, but it is something that I dreamed of doing. I remember having one night laying in bed and I was like praying to God. I was like, I want to do this. I want to be able to help hygienists, empower them, train them, encourage them to do this thing that scares so many people. And it's not just hygienists, dentists too, like that they're like, I don't want to give injections, or I don't feel confident with my injections. And I was like, I want to help people do that because it will make their career better and their patients will be so much happier. Yeah. It's been a joy.
So you get to, and I think that what we all need to realize is that whatever it is that we choose to do and decide to do, that we get to do, is that we are of high service, and we are creating change in so many people's lives, and that is worthy of high compensation. So just that what you're calling it is one thing, is actually many things. It's teaching people how to give at local anesthesia, but it's also patient management. It's medical management. You also teach, I think, medical emergencies, right? CPR.
Yep.
So you're integrating all of that into a person who has a higher competency level as a person who goes into an office that knows their worth, that reinforces their value in what they're doing. And that's priceless.
Thank you. Yes, it is. There is something about that. Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. And we all have a purpose within our career, within our life. And I think one of the biggest challenges for many people is identifying what can I do to serve others? What are my gifts? What are my capacities? What are my abilities? And it doesn't have to be something big and bold and amazing, like showing up on social media or holding certification courses. I mean, I am so blessed that that's what I get to do. But it could be something as simple as showing up and being there and holding someone's hand when they're going through a hard time and being that person that can be a resource to them. And I think there's so many times that even something that we may consider something small, of just sitting side by side with a friend and showing up for them, that we allow the fear of being there for them or showing up, or however it is you want to verbalize that. There's something about that where you're like, oh, I don't want to disrupt their day. I don't want to be inconvenienced if I just show up and say, here's some lasagna as you're going through and dealing with this, or can I pull some weeds for you? Like, those are gifts that can continue to benefit so many people. I don't know. I think the reason why that's on my head is I was listening to a podcast by Mike Rowe, and he was interviewing someone who he's now in his 80s, but one of his most fulfilling jobs was when he was 20, and he was delivering, in the 1920s. It was in the 1920s, and he was delivering government cheese. And he said that as a truck driver just delivering government cheese, that was one of the most fulfilling things that he ever did, because he knew what he was doing was helping so many people. So I think that's why it's all on the top of my head right now.
Absolutely. And I think really a golden nugget too with what you're saying, and it's what I coach through and have learned, and so many people find on the other side of it, is that if we keep what we want inside and we delay or never get to the other side of serving our own purpose, we are keeping so many people from our gifts that we are here to serve in. And because if you just take one example of one of your courses, and you're touching one person, or you're helping one person out, you're listening to one person, and you're sitting down and holding space for them, that ripple effect that you are creating in the entire world is much larger. And so everyone, you must, it is essential that you figure out what serves you and take the steps, as scary as they are, and prove to yourself that you're going to get through them. And it is very uncomfortable. It can be very uncomfortable. And the other side of it is like, wow, look how much I've grown. Whoa, looking back at that, that was a pebble and I thought it was a boulder.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I'll tell you, even right now, I have what for me is a gigantic boulder. It feels like it's Mount Kilimanjaro for me. I'm I'm going through, and I have for the last almost 2 years been trying to write my own little anesthesia chairside guidebook. Writing is always been a challenge for me. I can get up in front of people and speak. For me, that is not, I mean, it can be scary, but it's not as overwhelming. But writing, oh my golly, that's an elephant that you have to eat, right? And working on that, it taps every single little insecurity that I have. My grammar is not great. My spelling is horrible. That's not a skill set. So it hits all those little points of, elementary school Tina, middle school Tina, I almost didn't pass 7th grade because of my language arts and grammar. So it just taps into all of those insecurities and fears. And it's just one of those that I have moments where I'm like, I just can't tackle that today. It is just so overwhelming. Then I have other moments where I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I was like, just write like you're talking. And there are, and like, there's people out there that can help edit and do all of that. So
yeah, there are people who serve in your areas that aren't of strengths that you serve in your purpose. You put it down on paper, even if it was like you were talking, they can help you take some of the colloquialisms out of it and put it back into the format you want it. But the main thing that you get to do is that, well, I know that you're very structured in that you set time in your calendar to go work out. You set time for computer work. So structuring that is a huge thing to make time for it.
Yes. Oh, and then when that time comes, to not make an excuse as to why you're not going to do it. Because I will tell you, I will find, I'm like, I haven't weeded my yard for a while. I think I need to do that instead.
I need to go relace my shoes.
Right? And like, is that a dust bunny under the couch that's behind the corner that nobody ever sees? I think there might be one there. I better go find that.
Create something else to do.
Right,
but to take action towards it is such a game changer, even if it's for 10 to 15 minutes, right? Even if it's for 10 to 15 minutes, just like your Instagram.
Yes.
Just like your Instagram.
And it is so one of those things where having to remember that after I've completed it, how good I feel. I'm like, oh, yay, I did it. I put stuff down. I got some pictures together. I found out what I needed. I feel so much better. I feel good about it. And I have to really focus on the positive emotions that come when I'm done instead of the painful struggles that I have to go through to get there. And that is work every day of that mindset of thinking about the positive aspects that will come, thinking about the people that will get to read that and benefit from it. And not second guessing that anybody, I'm like, will anybody even want this? And I was like, even if one person wants it, then I know that it'll be amazing. So
that's right. Yeah. Just putting it out there. Well, Tina, I know that you have courses coming up in Georgia, certification. What else do you have going on where people can find you? We'll have her information's in the show notes, so you can always reach out to her in that way. But what's coming up for you?
So, so I'm basically in Georgia every month doing certification courses and doing some hands-on workshops in Oregon. I will also be at ADHA doing a workshop at ADHA in New Orleans, and then RDH Under One Roof. Actually, I think it's switched. RDH is before ADHA. So I'll be at RDH Under One Roof speaking there and getting to walk around, which I'm really excited about. I've actually never gone to an RDH Under One Roof event. So this will be my very first time, and I get to speak there, which will be fun. So I have those. And then I'll have webinars and such like that with other organizations and companies that people can join into. But there's always, I have my on-demand courses that people can go to where you can just learn at your own pace, watch some videos. When you're done with the course, you can go back and rewatch them. Like you're like, oh gosh, I have to go in and I'm doing a Gal Gates injection. What was that tip again that Tina said? You can go back in, pull up the course and take a look at it.
That's awesome. So you're there to support them in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, Tina, thank you so much for coming on. And I know that you're super busy, and I'm just grateful for the time and the insight that you've offered the followers and the fans that you have, because I know that you have a huge following.
Well, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you working with my travel schedule and my rummy brain, as I got about maybe 5 or 6 hours of sleep after landing in Georgia at midnight, 1 a.m.
Yeah, all the travel glamour. We get it. I get it.
Yep.
Well, thank you again. And to all of our listeners on the Dental Handoff, thank you so much. I always ask that you do a favor and go onto Apple and give a 5-star rating. Go on over to YouTube, like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification button so it alerts you and also friends who may find this useful that something that they like is about to air. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Friends, be well, and we'll see you next time.